Hello, Tim from Fairplay now on the 29th of November 2021. It's a cold, bright one this morning, and it was -3 degrees here according to the thermometer on the van here. So pretty nippy, but rattling through the jobs. Got 2 done already, and it's only about 11 o'clock. So getting through the jobs nicely today. So I've got a minute or two to chat here. So I've got a fantastic video recommendation for you, by the way, on a YouTube video, but more on that in a minute. But after the not so great weekend, or the not so great news from the weekend at least, I'm sort of in a more positive frame of mind, and not really sure yet quite how many people are going to be complying with the nonsense or not. I'm sure we're going to find that out in the coming days and weeks. But I did have one little message of hope from a viewer, actually. He left a comment on, I think it's either yesterday's video or Saturday's one, can't remember. But he said something along the lines of, this is just paraphrasing, something along the lines of, my wife has been an absolute die-hard mainstream narrative person as far as the Lurgy's concerned, and even she's starting to ask questions now. It's over. So that was his message. And yeah, if there are people, hardcore people like that, starting to wake up to the nonsense, that's a very, very good sign. And if one guy is saying that, that pattern will be getting repeated up and down the country, believe you me. So let's hope enough of them begin to wake up like she's doing to make a difference. I suppose time will tell. But if you are a recent convert to sort of my way of thinking, you might be wondering what this channel's all about, you know, or if you're just a recent subscriber, really, you might be wondering what this channel's all about. And I started this channel 15 months ago, but only really started getting going with it about 13 months ago now. And there was 3 reasons really. One was it's just like a release mechanism for me. It's for me really to vent and say what's on my mind and vent some frustration, because it was a very frustrating time last year with the November 2020 lockdown, and then ongoing into December and all the nonsense that happened there as well. And it's probably going to continue being a little bit of a vent of frustration as we go forward, but we'll have to wait and see what happens, as I say. Secondly, it's really like a diary of events, which is why I start every day with what the date is. And in times to come, I'm hoping it will be almost like a historical record, really. Probably not the most kind of detailed or sort of accurate record, but it'll be a record of sorts. Again, either just for my own perusal in years to come, or maybe for other people as well. And then the third reason I did it, and it's a bit of a funny reason, I suppose, when you look at it, but I think when this all ends, and ends for us in a favourable way, which I'm still convinced it will do, it might take a little bit longer than we were hoping, but I'm still convinced we're going to get the right result, as it were. And when that happens, everybody's going to be like, oh I always knew there's something a bit iffy about all this, but I didn't like to say anything, or always knew there's something a bit fishy going on. I knew it. And if you say that in times to come, people will be like, yeah, right, you're sort of as fast asleep as everybody else. And I wanted to have proof that that wasn't the case with me. And having made, it must be getting up to 400 or 500 videos now, all banging on about this same kind of thing, I think I'm going to have ample proof that I certainly wasn't just going along with the narrative. So, yeah, maybe a selfish reason for doing this, but as subscribers started coming and grow, that number started growing, I then wanted to make this a resource for other people as well as for myself. But I still get a lot of personal benefit from this. It really does help my mental well-being. But again, if you're new here, one of the things that we're fighting against, people like me are fighting against, and the reason the thing that I think is behind all of this stuff that's been going on for the last 20 months is I think they want to do the Great Reset and bring in a social credit scoring system, very much like what they've got in China. And I do believe that the V passes that they're proposing and already have in so many different parts of the world now, I think that is like a Trojan horse to sort of get the get these sort of passes in, and they won't go away when the lurgy goes away. Once they're in, they'll be here forever. And what they'll do with them is any little transgression you do, if you don't sort of put your wheelie bin rubbish out on the right day, or sort of you don't sort of take the wheelie bin back in quick enough, very trivial, silly little things like that, as well as more major transgressions. If you're speaking out against the government, for instance, like I do, well, guess what? Your social credit score is going to go down, and then you won't be able to access certain things in society. You won't better get on a bus or public transport, for instance. And that is already happening in China. And I do believe that the powers that shouldn't be want that worldwide. So this video that I'm talking about kind of goes into and explains that way better than I can. So it is on YouTube, surprisingly, and I'll leave a link to it in both the comment section and the description box below. It's well worth a watch, and it is one you can share far and wide among people who are either sort of believers in the narrative or otherwise. And hopefully, if it's shared wide enough, it might wake up a few more people. So I think it's an interesting one for you to watch. It's only about 20 minutes long, but it really does describe what these V-passes are really all about, and the nightmare society it's gonna usher in. And it kind of made the reference that this is a pivotal moment in history. It's very much like D-Day or something like that. And if we don't step up like those soldiers on D-Day and kind of really do our best to fight against this evil plan, we're just never going to be able to look future generations in the eye, or indeed past generations who fought for our freedom so hard on so many different occasions, only for us to drop the baton. We really don't want to be the generation who drops the baton on this, and we need to keep freedom going, and therefore we need to do everything we can to fight the V-passes. With that in mind, I believe yesterday there was a referendum in Switzerland where the whole population is voting whether to keep their V-passes or not. And it's going to be very interesting to see what goes on there. course, it'd be lovely if we got the right result on that and they rejected it. But sadly, I fear that it's going to go the other way, the way we don't want it to, because I don't think the powers that shouldn't be would have even allowed a referendum there if they had any doubt that they weren't going to get the result they wanted by fair means or foul. So we'll have to see what happens there, but I'm not anticipating a very good result. But as far as this country is concerned, we need to just do everything we can to fight this whole VPass thing. And with that in mind, I'll leave it there, leave it for you to go and watch this video and share it, and I'll see you soon. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.